Hi, this is your coach, Joe Lucas, and welcome to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. Hey, in this episode, we are going to tackle everybody's favorite subject, which is time management as a financial advisor. It's very interesting. 26 years and change doing what I do in the trenches with advisors of all walks of life, from wirehouses to independent RIAs, to fee only, and everything in between. The one thing that's absolutely consistent throughout that entire spectrum of experiences is that most advisors, I mean like 80, 90%, fail at understanding how to run their days. And they fail at the concept of time management, which is interesting because you think, well, I mean, that's one of the basic things that you have to master as an advisor in order to scale/ level up your business. So let's go over some things that I found in my experiences of some of the do's and don'ts, right? I think we'll kind of keep this kind of top line, obviously for time, but let's talk about some things that kind of sabotage time management. Number one, um, time blocking. So let's talk a little bit about this. So in my experiences, about 5% of the population can really do a good job at time blocking. Now, when I say time blocking, I mean like they block from the time they hit their door in their office to the time they leave, right? Like everything is done. They're regimented. They're just highly focused, right? They have that a 5 out of 100, right? Now, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't use blocks, throughout the day. Like, yeah, I need a outbound block, right, to go follow up on prospects, clients. I have my meeting blocks, which you always have, by the way. So one of the other things we're talking about this is if you're just kind of wandering into your day and you're giving carte blanche to your clients to schedule reviews and meetings, like, hey, whenever you can meet, hey, when can you do it? You're screwing yourself. You must work inside of blocks. So you call them meeting blocks, review blocks. You need to have them defined out as far as possible. In our world, at least 90 days. So when you're reaching out to a client or team members reaching out to a client and say, "Hey, it's time for your review. Here's the availability," right? Not when can you do it, right? So that's the tail wagging the dog. Doesn't work. All right. So time blocking for pretty much all of you can be done effectively, just not throughout the entire day. You've got to pick your spots and then work inside of that. Okay. That's really important. The second thing that I find advisors do that really kind of doesn't work is they weave through it. So to me, there are lots of things we have to do to be successful, right? But basically, they fall into two what I call buckets. There's going to be the strategic bucket, which is what I call working on your business. Things like business plans, quarterly plans, updating a website, segmentation, product tree, systemization, workflows, leadership, running the business, stuff like that, right? That's all strategic. And there's probably now 20 things, which we're not going to talk about right now. And then the tactical stuff is making your contacts, following up on your clients, doing your reviews, kind of being in the business, right? For lack of a better term. What a lot of you do, and it doesn't work long term, is you zigzag. So you'll do some strategic stuff, then you'll pivot into some tactical stuff, then you go back, and there's no continuity or flow. So one of the things that I highly recommend to my clients is declare the day. I'm going to have a tactical day today. So that means I'm gonna deal with my client contacts, follow up on prospects, do my reviews, prep for my reviews, handle my client issues that come up, kind of run the business in the business, right? You declare a strategic day. I'm now going to work on the business. I'm going to work on systemization, protocols, processes, marketing, branding, messaging, all that higher level stuff. Do not mix the two. They're like oil and water. Just declare the day. If you're going to do a tactical day, do not look at your strategic thing. So put that in we use Evernote. Put it away. You don't want to see it. Only look at it on your strategic days. Conversely, if you're going to be doing a strategic day, especially if you're in your office, shut down Outlook. Put the phone on do not disturb. Tell your staff close the door. And you need to protect yourself. Because if you're trying to think strategically, which is that 50,000 foot high level genius time, and you're answering emails in between that and seeing who's on your voicemail and allowing your staff to interrupt you, there's no continuity, no flow. Now, I know some of you are going to sit and say, but Joe, how if a client calls? How if they need something? This drives me crazy. Here's reality. There are two reasons why advisors let the tail wag the dog. Number one is that they don't claim their own authority as who they are. So, in other words, they don't understand the value of their own time, right? So, you feel subservient to your client base. That's been number one, right? And then the other one is that we're just not comfortable in our relationships. That we're always concerned that somebody's going to leave us, or we're going to piss somebody off, or man, if they, it's the only profession I know, this game, where the typical professional, again, I know some of you don't do this, especially if you're my client, you know not to do this, where you'll literally sit at your office desk, wherever that, home today, wherever it happens to be, and you will sit there like a call center, and like, oh, a client emailed me, I got to email them back, or a client calls, I better pick up that phone call, right? Are you that insecure in your relationships? Are you that insecure in your client relationships that you operate from a fear like, oh my God, I got to handle this, right? That's a psychology that will absolutely devastate your success long term. See, a lot of people think time management. Well, Joe, just tell me how to organize time. Time management, day management is a psychology first, system second. Let me repeat that. Time management, day management is psychology first, system second. So you can go read all the coaches and practice management gurus on time blocking and all this other jazz. You probably have done that, many of you, and yet you fail to implement, execute. Why? It's not about that. It's about where do you put yourself in relationship to your client base, right? Now, what I recommend, two things. Number one, an autoresponder on your email that sort of says, thanks for emailing me. I respond to emails within 24 hours, right? So there's the expectation. If this is urgent or an emergency, please call, text me. Here's my cell phone. Whatever action you want the person to take. Therefore, the client now determines the level of importance of this action. Most of you make it overly important. Oh, I just need a copy of my statement, but you jumped on it like their spouse died, right? You cannot scale a business if you're always in reaction mode. Can't do it, right? So autoresponder. Next thing, learn how to put this thing. For those of you doing the audio part, I'm holding up my cell phone. Put that sucker on do not disturb when you're in strategic time. Shut off all the notifications, all the text messaging, like block it out. Just focus and do what you need to do. You've got to protect yourself in order to do that, right? You've got to protect that window of time. The other thing is make sure you're matching energy flow to task flow. So here's what I mean. If you know that you've got to sit down and you're going to work on your website, or you're going to work on social media content, or you got to be highly creative. And I say, and this is the question I ask my clients: say, hey, energy wise, when are you at your best? Some people say very very early in the morning. Some people say midday. There's some people that say late after. Whatever it is for you, you match that to when you need to use stuff. So, for example, I am most creative. In fact, all these videos that we shoot here, Magellan Network Show, Magellan Network, our daily coaching videos, we shoot these. These are all shot before 10 a.m. in the morning, Eastern. I start my creative time at 6 a.m. Eastern. That's my flow. By 11 o'clock, no, flow's gone. Like creative time's gone, genius time's gone, get into no administrative. So breaking this up, you don't want to do administrative stuff in your genius time. Do it when it's like low IQ stuff, right? You want to do that. So just make sure. And the other thing, if you're in tactical days, and you feel your best between 10 and 3, like that's when I've got the most energy, then that's when you should do your meetings. That's when you should do your callbacks. Don't do meetings at 5 o'clock at night if you're exhausted. You'll just get through the meeting. So remember, what are the rules here inside of our game? Is our game 9 to 5, 8 to 4, 7 to 3? When the markets are open? I mean, that's antiquated thinking. That's obsolete in today's world. So if you're operating with a set of rules that say, well, it's got to be between X and Y, like I know so many advisors who, I got to get to the office by X. and then they do nothing when they're there. They flail around, just looking busy, doing nothing important. It's a lie. It's ridiculous, right? Speaking of energy, this is the other thing that where a lot of advisors sabotage. Look, you can plan out your day, you can do all those things. But if you don't have physical, mental, and emotional energy because you're not eating properly, you're not sleeping properly, you're not taking care of yourself, you're up too late, you're always on the verge of exhaustion. Look, I don't care who you are, I don't care how bright you are. You're going to struggle elevating your game because you just don't have the raw material, the resources, mentally, emotionally, physically, to go drive that. And how many times have you and think about this, where you come into a day, you had a decent morning, kind of execute some things, right? And you got this laundry list of stuff you got to get done. Then you go have lunch, and then you come back from lunch, or you're done with lunch, whatever the game is for you these days, and you just want to go take a nap. Like you don't engage with anything. Well, that's sabotage. So I don't remember. You can plan all you want. At the end of the day, if you don't execute, who cares, right? I mean, I've known advisors in my career that literally, when I first meet them, I say, Joe, I want to show you how I track time. And they'll sit there and like track what they do in 15-minute increments. And then I go, okay, when do you do the work? Like, when do you actually get it? Because all I see is tracking the tracking, right? And like, it's ridiculous. It's crazy. So remember, productivity, our game is not, remember, our game's not about time. Our game is about really two things: productivity and output. Being productive in what we're doing inside of our tasking, and output. How many contacts? How many meetings set? How many introductory conversations? How many COI follow-ups? Like producing actual tangible results. So if you're sitting there saying, well, I'm gonna spend an hour on business development today, I could give a rat's butt about an hour. What I want to know is inside of that hour, what are we doing? How many contacts? What's the standard? What's the KPI, key performance indicator? Like, how do we track, measure? How do you validate? That is the game. So I want you all to think about this as you go through this. And the other thing to see is, especially for some of you guys and gals who run teams and are leaders, close your door when you need to close your door. Tell your team, I am going on block time for the next 2 hours. I've got to prep for a big review, or I got to do some follow-ups on some prospects, or I've got to go write a blog post, or I'm going to, I'll be recording my pod, whatever it is you need to do. Let your team know I am unavailable. Like, inside of my world here, and I've got a real, I worked from my house now for over 2 decades, and I've learned from trial and error what works and what doesn't work really well for me, right? And one of the things that I know when I'm on strategic time, which I do here primarily in the office here, which is my tactical environment also, is that and what you guys don't see behind me here is like massive whiteboards, beautiful glass whiteboards on walls, which is kind of where I do my thing. I'm very visual. Um, when I'm in that flow mode, my email's not open, my calendar's not open, my phone's on doing, like, I protect myself. I'll put some kind of cool background music on to kind of get a good state flow going, and I go ahead and be hyper creative. There seems to be a badge of honor in this world where, man, I work really hard, so therefore I'm successful. And in this game, first of all, let me kind of burst the bubble. Nobody here works hard. Now, it doesn't mean we don't do output. I don't think I work hard, right? I'm not humping rocks. I'm not lugging shingles up a ladder to do a roof. I'm not laying blacktop in 105-degree weather. I don't work hard. What I do is very meaningful, but I never confuse it with it would be disrespectful to the people that do work hard. So nobody here works hard. So get off that conversation with yourself. What you need to understand is that if you're trading time all the time, at some point you just can't scale. You just can't continue to elevate that game. You've got to shift and pivot, and you've got to be willing to do that. And that's why for many of you, your career, depending on how, whether you're 10 years in the game, 20 years in the game, 30 years in the game, it's like every year you're reinventing yourself. It's like you're the 30-year startup because all you've done is you say, well, I'm just going to work hard. I'll do more. Doesn't work. You can need, for the first 5 years of your career, you have to do more, right? You have to put the time in. I will give you that. But if that's your psychology, you're 6, 7, 8, 10, 15, 20. It's crazy. Like this world, I always say being a financial advisor is the ultimate lifestyle game. But you got to understand how to play the game and understand what the rules are. And if you don't do that, all you do is have basically a well-paying job that will probably stress you out, and it's not sustainable. Look, you got to, and I deal with guys and gals all the time. Bank account's great, flush with cash, miserable. Now, why is somebody flush with cash miserable? Because they had a goal of making a lot of money. They never had a goal of being fulfilled. They never had a goal about their bucket list or dream life. And so they've got a nice bank account, stressed out of their minds, not sustainable, miserable. And by the way, that. Here's a key sign. You wake up in the morning once in a while and go, I wonder what else I can do. I wonder if I can go do something else, right? You just start, like, you want to escape this madness that you've created. One last point, because I always want to keep these about 15, 20 minutes, is I've watched clients of mine, 5 years in the business, 30 years in the business, change. So the other thing is, if you're psychology, right? If your concept is that, I've been doing this way for 15, 20 years, and you can't teach an old dog new tricks, you're absolutely right. Because if your belief is I can't change, you're right. Nobody can teach you. I can't teach you. The next person can. The other person can, because you basically have told yourself, I can't change. All time management, all day management, all task management, all change/elevation starts with a change of psychology, an increase in energy level. Then we build a system that's going to serve you. Because here's the other thing, and then we're out of here. What works for one advisor necessarily will not work for another advisor. There are kind of global things inside of creating a time management or day management system. Basically, the morning ritual, we call it the Magellan Morning 8. So what do you do pre-day? What's your AM day look like? What do you do midday? What's your PM day look like? What's your tracking look like? Those are the global things inside of a concept, right? Of a system. But every advisor, at least the ones that I know, will execute it the way they need to execute it. That's where you've got to figure your game out, right? So you can always get a very blueprint, a template. But you've got to understand, if you try to deploy that template just as is, you're not that person who built it. You've got to go create a version for you that will work for you, but is also sustainable. Okay? So 2 things real quick, and we're out of here. So number 1, there probably is a link, hopefully, where you can go ahead and I put together a webinar on this very topic. We talk about morning rituals. We talk about daily game plans. The Magellan Morning 8, and we call it the Magellan Daily 5. So if you want to do a deep dive in this, there's links, free webinar. Just got to register, and it's about an hour long. So it's a deep dive with some very, very important strategies. Go take a look at that. Second piece, if any of this made sense and you want to kind of step into our game and see what I do with our tribe over at Magellan Network over here, MagellanNetwork.net. Come spend a couple weeks. If it's a fit, great. If it's not, no harm, no foul. There's no pressure. We attract great advisors. We don't sell great advisors. All right. Have a great day. Thank you for watching this episode of the Magellan Network Show. So there you have it. If you really enjoyed watching this episode, go ahead and subscribe to the Magellan Network Show with Coach Joe here on YouTube. And remember, I'm always here to help you become a better entrepreneur, business owner, and financial advisor. With that, I'll see you next time on the Magellan Network Show with me, Coach Joe. Take care and goodbye.